Our story begins in a quiet town called Nazareth. In that calm place lived a young woman named Mary, gentle and kind, who spent her days helping others and caring for her home. She led a simple life, the sort that feels ordinary until something extraordinary changes everything. One day, an angel appeared to Mary with a message from God. The angel's light filled the small room, and though Mary was startled, the angel spoke softly and kindly. He told her not to be afraid and said God had chosen her for something very special. The angel told her she would give birth to a very special child. He said the baby would be called Jesus and that he would have a very important role in the world. Mary listened, surprised and thoughtful, as the angel explained that this would happen by God's power. Mary didn't understand everything, but she trusted God. She had questions and worries, like anyone would, but she chose to say yes with a hopeful heart. Her faith and quiet courage set the first part of this story in motion. Soon after, Mary and Joseph began a long journey to Bethlehem. Joseph, a careful and gentle man, walked beside Mary as they prepared to travel. They packed simply, left their familiar streets, and set out together, knowing they had to reach Joseph's hometown. It was long and tiring, but they kept going. The road was rough, and sometimes the days were hot, and the nights were cold. Mary rode on a donkey while Joseph guided them, both doing their best to stay strong for what lay ahead. They traveled for days through heat, dust, and cold nights. Sometimes the path was quiet, and the sky was full of stars. Other times it was crowded with traders and travelers. Still, they kept moving toward Bethlehem, step by careful step. When they arrived in Bethlehem, everywhere was crowded. The town was full of people who had come home for the counting the ruler had ordered. Every inn and guest room was full, and the streets buzzed with voices and animals. They looked for a place to stay, but every room was full. Joseph knocked on doors and asked kindly, but each host shook their head with regret. Night was falling, and Mary was growing weary from the long journey. Finally, an innkeeper told them he had no room, but he offered them a quiet place in his stable. The innkeeper could not make space inside, yet he pointed them to a small outbuilding where animals sheltered. It was humble, but it was shelter from the night. It wasn't much, but it was safe and warm. Inside the stable, there was soft straw and the gentle sounds of animals. It was simple, but it gave them a place to rest after so many miles. And there, in that simple stable, Jesus was born. In the quiet of the night, Mary brought her child into the world. The newborn was tiny and fragile, and the first breaths were taken surrounded by straw and the hush of animals. Mary laid him in a manger, a feeding box for animals. Because there was no proper cradle, Mary wrapped the baby gently and placed him in the manger. It was a humble scene, filled with tenderness and care. Nearby, shepherds were watching over their sheep. In the fields not far from town, shepherds kept watch through the night, tending their flocks and staying alert to any danger. Their job was ordinary, but this night would not remain ordinary for long. Suddenly, angels appeared with wonderful news. The darkness was pierced by light as an angel spoke to the shepherds, telling them not to be afraid. He shared joyful news. A Savior had been born in Bethlehem, a gift meant for all people. The shepherds rushed to see the newborn king. Filled with wonder and urgency, they left their flocks and hurried toward the town. The message had moved them. What they heard changed their plans in an instant. They found him just as the angels said. When the shepherds entered the stable, they saw Mary and Joseph and the baby lying in the manger. Everything was exactly as the angel had described, and the shepherds were filled with awe. A bright star shone above the place where he lay. In the night sky over Bethlehem, a special star burned clear and bright, as if the heavens themselves had pointed the way to this small, sacred place. Jesus' birth reminds us that even the smallest place can hold the greatest gift. A humble stable, filled with simple people and animals, became the very place where hope entered the world, showing that greatness often begins in quiet, unexpected ways.